Tonight, just hours after market-melting global tariffs take effect, Donald Trump blinks.
This was driven by the president's strategy.
Many of you in the media clearly missed the art of the deal.
Art of the deal or of the retreat? Canadian travelers look to book away from the U.S.
I still get cancellations every other week. It sucks, man. It's really, really rough.
Digital manipulation through social media gets easier and cheaper.
If you want a group in Europe with 1,000 members, it's $50.
Mid-campaign, we're tracking the growing threat of disinformation.
From CBC News, this is The National with Asha Tomlinson.
Thank you for joining us. Adrian is on assignment. Donald Trump jolted markets and governments again today after a sudden and dramatic reversal, pausing most of the tariffs he just enacted. The decision came out of nowhere and triggered a wave of confusion. But the end result, those levies announced 1 week ago, remember Liberation Day? Many of them between 30 and 50% were all cut to 10% for the next 90 days, with one notable exception. 125% tariffs on China remain. The week of intense uncertainty and economic turmoil between tariff and retreat, now described as part of the plan. The result on Wall Street was swift, with major indexes skyrocketing the moment Trump announced his pause. The S&P 500 ended the day up by about 9.5%, one of the biggest single-day increases since the Second World War. Even with those massive gains, markets are still down since he announced those tariffs in the first place. And there are other signs of instability. More on that in minutes. But first, Katie Simpson walks us through this stunning day.
Even by Donald Trump's standards, it has been a chaotic 24 hours. As he welcomed race car drivers to the White House, he confirmed his tariff walkback.
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, you know? They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid.
An unexpected announcement he first made in a long and confusing post on social media. All country-specific tariffs are paused for 90 days. Those countries will now be hit with a lower 10% baseline tariff. China is the exception, now hit with a higher 125% total tariff because it continues to retaliate. All of it so surprising it caught lawmakers off guard. They'd been grilling Trump's top trade negotiator for hours. He didn't mention it.
I've just been in the hearing with you, sir. But yet he announced it on a tweet? WTF? Who's in charge?
The President of the United States is in charge.
And what do you know about those details?
Well, as I mentioned...
it looks like your boss just pulled the rug out from under you.
But Trump's team says there's no confusion.
Many of you in the media clearly missed the art of the deal. You clearly failed to see what President Trump is doing here.
This was driven by the president's strategy. He and I had a long talk on Sunday, and this was his strategy all along.
Comments undercut after the Treasury Secretary wrongly said Canada would be hit by a new tariff.
Mexico and Canada, are they part of the 10%?
Yes.
Okay.
But Canada does not have to deal with anything new. Canada is already facing 25% border security tariffs, 10% on energy and potash, though CUSMA-compliant goods are exempt. There are also 25% tariffs on the auto sector, steel, and aluminum. Canada has retaliated in waves, including new tariffs on finished U.S. autos. And some provinces have pulled American products from store shelves.
At least it's a beautiful day, right?
Trump's team doesn't like it.
If Canada decides to keep their retaliatory move, which I would suggest, having watched how it went with China, would be a really, really bad choice. Canada, they're in an election, so you never know. Maybe it's all election, bluster, but we don't know.
Given the roller coaster of a day and how Trump's policies can change without notice, big question going forward. How long really might this pause last? And how does this affect Trump's credibility as he tries to negotiate deals with countries?
And Katie, today really serves as a reminder that Trump is the ultimate decision maker in the White House.
He says he's been thinking about a pause for a few days and finally decided to do it this morning. He wrote that social media post without the help of lawyers, he said, and then it came from his heart. Even White House staff were confused by some aspects. At first, an official told me, yes, Scott Bessent was right. Canada would be hit by that 10% tariff. More than an hour later, they came back with a correction that no, Canada is not included. It remains very chaotic.
Thanks for following all the twists and turns as always. Katie Simpson in Washington. Let's get back to the markets now and that stunning rally, one that undid days of harm, but still wasn't good enough to recover from weeks of tariff-driven uncertainty. And as Anis Haidari shows us, there are other signs the economy is still at risk.
The New York Stock Exchange closing with big gains, the first good news in a few days for investors. North American markets spiked dramatically after Donald Trump announced a pause for some tariffs. Economists say businesses can use the extra time to prepare.
So that has led to both the stock market spiking up significantly. Obviously, it's not enough to erase all the losses.
True enough, markets in both the United States and Canada jumped right as the White House made its announcement, but are still lower than before the so-called Liberation Day a week ago. And there are still signs of economic trouble ahead. Researchers point out investors are bailing on what used to be considered a safe haven, the bond market.
I think got both markets worried is that we might be seeing a foundational shift in kind of the global trading, the world order for global trade. And at that point, investors in all markets might be seeking safety, but there might not be a whole lot of places to go.
We are not fine now.
Experts say even paused tariffs cause fear.
There is a lot more drag on the U.S. economy, a lot more drag on the global economy, because essentially this is one of the biggest tax increases in American history.
And it's still unclear what America will do next.
The reality here is that firstly, you're looking at an erratic policy stance from the U.S. government. Secondly, you're looking at prolonged uncertainty, which tends to weigh on business investment, on investor decisions, and even on consumer spending.
So even though stock markets have charged upwards, many economists are still predicting recession. Anis Haidari, CBC News, Calgary.
Now to the federal election campaign. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is promising to crack down on repeat criminal offenders. As Cameron McIntosh shows us, it is an idea with lots of supporters and plenty of challenges.
This is security camera video of a recent robbery on a farm in southern Manitoba. The men in the video are armed.
Took our ATV.
Dean Tave's farm was one of 3 hit. It's not the first time, as rural robberies grow increasingly brazen in Western Canada. Like many, he blames bail laws.
Guys are getting in and out right away and then back to what they were doing, and so it seems like we need longer jail time.
Catch and release Liberal policies have destroyed our once safe towns and cities.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is promising bail reform and minimum sentences of 10 years to life for 3-time offenders.
3 strikes you're out means that anyone convicted of 3 serious offenses will be ineligible thereafter for bail, probation, parole, or house arrest.
After declining for years, police-reported crimes in Canada have been trending up since 2014, the year before the Liberals took power. Poilievre points to jumps of 50% in violent crime, 116% in gun crimes, and 46% in auto theft. However, some minimum sentences have already been deemed unconstitutional in Canada, while 3-strike laws were first tried in the 1990s in the U.S.
It was tried in multiple jurisdictions and backfired.
Ben Perrin is a former legal advisor to Prime Minister Stephen Harper.
Research is pretty clear that 3-strikes laws don't make us any safer. In fact, they were found to increase homicides by around 25%.
Poilievre's opponents dismiss his proposed policy.
The full force of the law should be applied and appropriately severe punishment put in place. I don't jump to a baseball rule of 3 strikes.
I believe we need to stop crime before it happens.
The NDP and Liberals both say they'll have more to say on crime as Poilievre doubles down on an issue the Conservatives have long considered a strength. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
National media are barred from traveling with Pierre Poilievre, and the Conservative campaign carefully restricts questions from reporters. As Kate McKenna shows us, it is a break with common practice and possibly the campaign's own message of transparency.
We'll now take questions from the floor.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre speaks to media nearly every day.
Elaine Delamattia, Sioux Star.
But unlike other party leaders, he only takes 4 questions with no follow-ups, and party staff decide which reporters get to ask.
Is that why you're not getting a security clearance?
That boiled over in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, when a reporter not handpicked by the party tried to ask a question.
Sorry, there's just a protester here. Go ahead.
It's a reporter trying to ask you a legitimate question.
If the Liberals stay in power.
At campaign events, journalists are kept at a distance, often behind barriers.
Thank you. Next question.
All part of the party's iron grip on message control. Staffers have tried to block access to journalists trying to speak to reporters and even local candidates.
There's a picture of you going around on social media wearing a Make America Great hat.
This event isn't open for questions. It's just for coverage, okay?
We're on a wharf in City Hall.
Yeah, it's a public place.
The Liberals, New Democrats, and Bloc Québécois all have reporters traveling with their campaigns at their news organization's expense. And those reporters choose among themselves who will get to ask questions. The Conservatives used to do that too, until this year. A campaign source says it's about minimizing risk.
I do think that a strategy to limit access to Mr. Poilievre is a safe one.
This pollster says the Conservative strategy has pros and cons.
It's one where you think you are well ahead. All you need to do is control as much as you can and just get to the finish line because you're so far ahead in that race. As we've seen in basically 3 months, that strategy doesn't seem to be working because the entire landscape has changed.
The Conservatives said they'd run one of the most accessible and transparent campaigns in recent history. But so far, Liberal leader Mark Carney has taken twice as many questions from reporters.
Kate, Pierre Poilievre hasn't shown much hesitation clashing with the media while he was Conservative leader, sometimes dressing them down. Is that still a factor on this campaign trail?
Well, he smiled more. He occasionally engages with reporters in a way he wasn't before, but off camera, the tone hasn't shifted. Often political staff will try to suss out what reporters want to ask. They put strict controls on when journalists can enter and leave venues where we can set up cameras, all parts of this effort to control the daily message.
Kate McKenna in Ottawa, thank you.
You're welcome.
The other main parties are out campaigning too, pitching their promises to voters in Western Canada. Our reporters are with them.
Hi, I'm Kat Tunney covering the Liberal campaign, which started the day in Calgary as Mark Carney reaches out to Albertans, including voters who are angry about recent Liberal energy policies. Carney is promising to turn Canada into an energy superpower, and fast, making sure to stress there's room for both clean and conventional. He also spoke about energy independence, an issue complicated by Quebec's resistance to an east-west pipeline. Carney thanked oil and gas workers, saying they haven't always received the recognition they deserve. A play for voters as Liberals try and make inroads in a very blue province. Another blue province, Saskatchewan, where we are now, which hasn't seen a speck of Liberal red since before the 2019 election.
I'm Ashley Burke covering the NDP campaign in Burnaby. It's Jagmeet Singh's second visit to British Columbia in 2 weeks, the province where his party has the most seats in jeopardy. One of his incumbent candidates in Vancouver, Don Davies, told us that the biggest challenge right now is the Trump factor upending this campaign. Singh's still trying to break through, saying Trump's threat of major tariffs on imported pharmaceuticals could drive up costs. He's pitching to expand pharmacare in 4 years, starting with about 100 essential medicines, including antibiotics, antipsychotics, and pain medications. The price tag, $3.5 billion a year. Now, there haven't been crowds at Singh's events so far this week like we've seen at Liberal and Conservative events. Singh's campaign says it's not that they can't throw a rally or fill a room with supporters. They call it a purposeful choice to focus on policy announcements to propose solutions.
The search for survivors continues in the Dominican Republic after a nightclub roof collapsed, killing more than 120 people. At least 300 were inside the Jet Set nightclub in Santo Domingo when it caved in early Tuesday morning. It is still not clear what caused the disaster. Giant cranes continue to remove the wreckage as families wait nearby for news. In southern Gaza, rescuers are digging through rubble after an Israeli strike hit a residential building, killing dozens of Palestinians. As Chris Brown shows us, this comes as civilian suffering intensifies, with no aid entering in well over a month.
Israel's military says its attack that flattened a concrete residential building in southern Gaza City struck a senior Hamas official. But at the impact site, desperate rescuers pulled the bodies of children out of the crushed debris. There were about 20 or 30 children here. We're still looking for them, said Fadi Abu Al-Qas. We're removing stones with our hands. We have no tools and there's nothing to help us, said Ahmed Abdu Absha. While Israel's military says it does everything possible to limit civilian casualties, international human rights groups have repeatedly assailed the IDF for indiscriminate bombings and for giving little or no evidence of the military value of the people it targeted. Aid groups say Israel's food, fuel, and medicine blockade of Gaza is now also at risk of taking lives. It's been nearly 6 weeks since the military last let in any supplies, arguing much of what's delivered ends up with Hamas, a claim the UN denies.
Many of the patients...
Medical groups say cases of malnutrition are mounting.
They come with signs of malnutrition, moderate or severe acute malnutrition. Some of the cases come with associated disease as respiratory tract infection.
As France's president visited the Egyptian side of the border Tuesday, there were pallets stacked high in warehouses, waiting to be sent across to Gaza whenever Israel agrees to let them in.
Basic water. Colleagues are living with less than 1 liter a day of water, and it's going to, become even worse.
The Israeli agency responsible for coordinating aid has proposed what it calls a structured monitoring and aid entry mechanism. But the UN has rejected it, calling it too restrictive, even callous. Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
U.S. tourism operators are feeling the pinch as more and more Canadians cancel their vacation plans south of the border.
We're going to feel it, a big impact in our pocket, end of the season.
How it's already eating into their bottom lines, next. Plus, why young Canadian men are moving to the right.
I think there is a risk that progressive activism has made some men feel alienated.
The forces shaping their political outlooks. And later, an iconic Canadian bird holds its ground.
I was simply amazed to how the goose was fighting back.
The Canada goose that battled a fox and won. We're back in 2. New drone footage tonight shows the aftermath of dramatic flooding in Cincinnati, Ohio. Some roads remain underwater after days of relentless rain. Officials say the Ohio River swelled to over 18 meters. Water levels are now dropping, with major cleanup efforts expected to begin tomorrow. The U.S. and Canada's relationship breakdown is driving some American businesses to the breaking point. Chris Reyes shows us why Canadian tourists simply aren't showing up.
Take any U.S. destination. Chances are you'll find Canadians in droves. Like in this beach town in the southern stretch of the Jersey Shore.
You'd go past every hotel in the Wildwoods and it would be nothing but Quebec license plates, sprinkled with a couple Ontario ones, but it was wall-to-wall Canadians.
In 2024, Canada was the U.S.'s biggest source of international travelers. Their business generated $20 billion in spending. In New York City alone, more than 1 million visited last year. Just ask Matt Levy, owner of Spread Love Tours.
I can tell you 30 to 50% of the tours that my company gives are for Canadian high school groups.
I say Canada should be our 51st state.
But with every threat from the Trump administration, those numbers are changing fast. Canadian airlines have reduced or canceled flights in recent months due to a drop in demand. Land border crossings are down almost 25% in February compared to last year. Levy feels it.
My company grossed $35,000 exclusively from Canadian high school kids coming to New York City for their class trip. 2025, $5,000 and going down.
Down in Wildwoods, New Jersey, the cancellations aren't happening yet, with another month or so to go before the season opens. But there is concern.
We're going to feel it a big impact in our pocket end of the season if they don't show up this year.
This massive public beach is one of the main reasons why so many Canadians come to this part of New Jersey every year. But this summer, the warm waters might not be enough to calm those feelings of frustration and anger. And for that reason, businesses are working on some new messaging.
We know that without our Canadian friends, it's just not the same in the Wildwoods.
In New York City, Levy is hopeful that Canadians will come back. He just doesn't know when.
I get back to my Canadian clients and I say, I don't blame you. I wouldn't come down to my country either if I were in your situation. I don't need to remind you, New York is not representative of the politics coming out of DC.
At least for now, many Canadians don't seem ready to make the distinction, nor in the mood to choose their travel plans over politics. Chris Reyes, CBC News, New York.
The Russian band, best known for its outspoken opposition to Vladimir Putin, is in Canada.
They're like I would say more than just a band because they're like a movement.
How punk band Pussy Riot's new tour is about much more than music. Plus, why so many young men are lining up behind the Conservative Party.
I think they do feel very anxious about the scale and the speed at which change is happening.
The shifting demographics among Canadian voters. And digital threats aimed at disrupting the election campaign.
We've seen a couple of examples already of doctored photos.
The political deep fakes flooding your social feeds. The National breaks down the stories shaping our world next. With many members living in exile, formerly imprisoned in Vladimir Putin's Russia, punk band Pussy Riot is now on tour in Canada, recently bringing their anarchic brand of anti-authoritarian music to Toronto. And Ali Chiasson got a first-hand look.
This is not a punk band. This is not a punk show. Pussy Riot's North American tour is a protest.
They're like I would say more than just a band because they're like a movement.
Certainly since 2012, when they held a punk prayer protesting Putin's Russia inside a Russian Orthodox church, where they were arrested and sentenced to 2 years in a prison colony for religious hooliganism.
It was one of the first times that the idea of a liberal Russian opposition entered Western consciousness, in the form of a band in this case, which made it easier, I think, to channel it into Western popular culture.
13 years later, Pussy Riot embarks on the Canadian leg of their tour called Riot Days, that's based on original member Maria Alkinya's book of the same name. All the proceeds go to the Ukraine war effort and advocacy for Russian political prisoners. Even though you're dead to me. Canadian artist Margot from Edmonton is opening for Pussy Riot on this tour.
This is one of the reasons I wanted to be a musician.
Margot champions freedom of expression and 2S LGBTQ+ rights, which can land a person in jail under Putin's regime.
Those groups that used to do things like go to concerts by Pussy Riot have been very much marginalized, arrested, or have simply left the country.
So on this Canadian tour, through activist art, Pussy Riot rallies for democracy and against autocracy.
They have experience with it, and I think we're just starting with Trump and everything.
Something that may resonate with Pussy Riot's North American fans these days.
We have to resist not just in elections, but in community organizing and art.
I certainly don't take free speech for granted. I think right now it is more important than ever to use our voices to remind each other of that.
Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. The alarming advances in online deception aimed at changing votes.
We've not ever seen that capability before.
But first,
that is a complete change.
Why so many young men are now drawn to conservative politics.
Because we're on the front line of all the crap that's going on.
It's not just economics, some reject progressive views.
Hey, the cavalry is here. We're gonna cheer for the boys.
and it could affect this election. Jonathan Monpetit breaks down a global trend taking hold in Canada. He shows us the people who are tracking it and those who are driving it.
I want to have my traditional values. I want to be able to be a man. I want to be able to be masculine.
The voices of a new generation of conservatives.
They continue to vote liberal. They continue to elect a socialist government that takes our money, makes our decisions for us, and ruins our country.
They're young, male, and frustrated.
We're at a moment where men and women are moving in opposite directions.
A trend happening in some of the world's biggest democracies.
CBS News exit polling finds that the president-elect won white men under 30 by 7 percentage points.
In Germany.
The far-right AfD is the winner among young men, while a large number of young women chose the left party.
And in South Korea.
The frustration and anger of young men in this country, whether their opinion is right or wrong, is palpable.
In Canada, young men are now an integral part of Pierre Poilievre's base.
The extent to which the coalition has changed, I think, would be very shocking to people. It's very, very young.
Carney's not here for you. He's here to put Canada last.
Canadian politics has changed a lot in the last 4 years. Like, check this out.
In the 2021 federal election, polls suggested that about the same number of young men and young women voted for the Conservatives. But today, things are way different. That's an 18-point gap. And pollster David Coletto says that gap is growing.
Have you ever seen support this high for the Conservatives among young men?
Not in my career. It is a new phenomenon that we are seeing such a divide that the demographic most likely today to say they're going to vote Conservative in our polling are men under the age of 30. That is a complete change to at least what I'm going to say the last few decades of Canadian politics.
In the last 3 federal elections, voters under 30 were more likely to vote for either the Liberals or the NDP than for the Conservatives, which kind of fits with the stereotype of young people being more progressive. But around the time Pierre Poilievre became the Conservative leader, Gen Z men shifted their support to the party. Jeannie Roth was Poilievre's director of communications on his leadership campaign.
What's changed is as young people are increasingly unhappy with where they sit in the world because they don't own homes, because they haven't been able to start families, because they feel like when they take public transit it's unsafe. Increasingly those young voters are open to voting Conservative.
Boomers don't actually give a flying fudge about the future generations of Canada.
Adam Beattie is a conservative influencer from the Vancouver area. He posts under the name Robin Skies on TikTok, where he has nearly 180,000 followers. Beattie voted for the NDP in his first federal election in 2015. But he eventually turned to the Conservatives because he felt they were more responsive to the anxieties of young men.
Why do you think conservatism now is appealing to young men in a way that maybe it hadn't before?
Because we're on the front line of all the crap that's going on.
Beattie says he moved out of downtown Vancouver because it was too expensive and because he was assaulted.
Having like a crazed person who's clearly high on something attack me, call the police and have the police look at me and say, there's nothing we can do about it. Yeah, that's a radicalizing experience. And the only people who are capable of living life without having to face that, frankly, are an older generation who live in, protected neighborhoods, who bought into those neighborhoods when those neighborhoods were inexpensive and who continue to be shielded from the reality that's going on that's being caused by these liberal policies and ideas.
We wanted to get a better understanding of when this gender gap began to emerge. So CBC News analyzed data from the Canadian Election Study, a comprehensive survey run by political scientists before and after elections.
The data suggests young men and women once had similar attitudes on questions about whether more should be done for women. But by 2015, their views began to diverge. The same goes for what should be done for racialized minorities. And recent polling by Abacus Data suggests that young men are more likely than young women to agree trans athletes should not be able to play on sports teams, and are more likely to believe there are no longer significant obstacles to women getting ahead. Coletto says young Canadians do agree on political and economic topics, like the importance of healthcare and childcare. It's on these cultural questions where young men lean conservative.
I think they do feel very anxious about the scale and the speed at which change is happening, particularly in societal kind of power structures, right? Like, it may be awkward to say, but I think they feel that their place in society is weakening and is maybe not as relevant as it used to be, right? That the historic advantage that particularly white men have had in our society is been challenged.
Alice Evans is studying how that rapid change has led to a global gender gap.
I think there is a risk that progressive activism has made some men feel alienated.
Evans says young people began polarizing along gender lines when they started spending less and less time socializing in person and more time on social media.
Globally, coupling is down, socializing is down, fertility is down. And that's a totally new dynamic whereby men and women are not necessarily understanding each other's perspectives. So people are spending much more time alone, by themselves, single, and then in these online networks.
Jobs are being taken.
The backlash to progressive politics has been stoked by online influencers known as the manosphere.
How long before we have an actual sex robot that can talk to you like that?
Probably not long.
It's a corner of the internet where figures like Joe Rogan host hours-long podcasts that are popular with young men.
All this ridiculous woke shit with these rigid ideas of what you have to say and not say. It's like, none of that is liberal. None of that is really like open-minded or progressive. It's all just it's a cult.
Men may gravitate to guys like Trump or Elon Musk who are saying, hey, the cavalry is here. We're going to cheer for the boys. We're going to champion men's rights. We're going to put men center stage for a change. Because that's an affirming message. So if men feel that they've always been left out and derided and neglected by these exclusionary progressive campaigns, then they may want their own heroes.
Here, there's my tire right on the screen.
Poilievre often speaks in a language that resonates with young men.
This insane, woke, DEI obsession is driving people away.
Or like when he sits with Jordan Peterson.
Young people say, look, okay, I went through, I got an education, I work nonstop, and I have made the calculation that there is no mathematical path for me to own a house.
It's a strategy, I think, designed entirely to speak to that cohort, which is not a normal conservative audience. And so if Pierre Poilievre finds a way to get those young men out to vote, that's a constituency that could be decisive in him becoming prime minister.
Young men like Beatty.
The only reason why young people on the right are talking about all of this woke stuff is because people on the left are obsessed with it. They're constant, and it's like, I don't care. I want a job, I want a house, I want a family, I want safety.
Since Trump's return to the White House, public opinion in Canada has been in a state of extreme flux. So far, young men have stood by the Conservatives, but boomers have shifted their support back to the Liberals.
It's certainly true for any political leader trying to hold together a broad voting coalition that there are always going to be concerns about appealing to one component of that voting coalition over another. You know, Poilievre is talking about institutions being broken, and so if you feel defensive of institutions, which many older voters do, it's harder for that to resonate.
Don't get me wrong, Donald Trump's comments about 51st state and the tariffs, not good, okay? Huge L. But the idea that people, specifically of an older generation, might be willing to give a mandate to Mark Carney because essentially Donald Trump bruised their ego while their kids are struggling to pay rent and to buy a house and to afford the basics is frustrating, to say the least.
So will these young men get out and vote? Elections Canada says youth turnout has been dropping since 2015, and women vote more than men. But we also know this race is engaging Canadians like very few ever have. Coming up, the disturbing lengths some are going to influence your vote online.
This has been repurposed to now make it seem like 18,000 Canadians support this idea.
The investigators looking into election misinformation. That's next. Investigators show us the great leap forward in spreading political lies that seem real.
Do you get fooled?
Yes, I do. From fake photos to fake endorsements.
This has been repurposed to now make it seem like 18,000 Canadians support this idea.
And the science just gets more and more sophisticated. Farah Nasser shows us the growing array of dirty tricks and what's being done to flag the disinformation.
The battle for your vote this election campaign is being fought in the palm of your hand. And in 2025, being able to tell what's real while you scroll is harder than ever.
The greatest threat, the one that I believe threatens the very existence of our democracy, is disinformation.
With looming geopolitical threats, the rapid growth of AI, and social media safeguards disappearing, we're in an information war unlike any other. To help us make sense of it all, we've come to McGill University in Montreal.
Hi, Angus. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Angus Bridgman is director of the Media Ecosystem Observatory. The group is analyzing and shedding light on digital threats this campaign. First red flag he's got for us, a Facebook group turned vehicle for manipulation.
So what are we looking at here?
So this is a great example of a candidate group that we would be looking at and sort of saying, hey, this is a little bit suspicious. So Trump only recently started talking about 51st state. Hey, this group has 18,000 members. Okay, that's a little bit strange. Why is that mobilized so quickly? We don't know. So we go and look at the group, and we can see, for example, the history of the group. So we can see the name changes. So actually, this is a group that used to be a buy and sell group. And then somebody gets this group and changes it and adapts it. And now, okay, June 2024, Canadians Against Pride Month, Canadians for Donald Trump. This has been repurposed to now make it seem like 18,000 Canadians support this idea.
So how does this happen? How does a buy and sell group become a support group for Trump's 51st state rhetoric?
This is a great example of a Facebook group marketplace.
Turns out these groups can be bought at a surprisingly affordable price.
If you want a group in Europe with 1,000 members, it's $50. North America, 5,000 members, it's $300. And you can go, oh, here, if you've got a fair amount of money, 600.
100,000 people.
100,000 people, and that's why people buy these groups.
It's like I think some of it is just sensationalization.
Bridgman finds these tricky to spot examples through what he calls his boots on the ground.
Are they posting a lot?
Oh yeah, they're posting a lot.
These students from McGill and other universities across the country have created dozens of social media accounts and are monitoring how they're targeted by information manipulation. Because they're undercover, we're not showing their faces.
Hey guys, how's it going? Anything to flag today?
Leading the team is research assistant Dia Jiang.
Is that in French or?
Yeah, it's in French.
Okay. We're looking at these profiles based on different geolocations, also based on different interests, to kind of see what's going to pop up, right? They might be subject to different kind of misinformation. They may be subject to different kind of content. So we're trying to cover this wide range of Canadian interests and spotting anything that's potentially suspicious.
Yeah. This election really kicks off. Yeah, there's been a lot of activity this week. Obviously, people are paying attention to the election.
This ever-present digital threat demands a nationwide response.
So we're seeing the websites using images from Carney, from Poilievre, from Singh.
The Montreal team has formed a coalition with partners from across the country.
We've seen a couple of examples already of doctored photos.
Among them, Jennifer Irish. With 35 years of national security experience, she's now with the University of Ottawa's Information Integrity Lab.
Do you get fooled?
Yes, I do. I guess I shouldn't be saying that in this forum, but it is getting more and more difficult, and we have specialists who are looking especially at visual disinformation. Sometimes it takes the application of quite sophisticated tools to see whether something's manipulated or not.
This fake image of Liberal leader Mark Carney didn't require high-tech tools and was quickly debunked, but not before it had an impact.
We know this is fake, but there was actually a heckler who brought this up.
This has happened before, that hecklers have brought in fake news into sort of the real world, but what we're seeing is a different sort of scale. And also, this is more convincing. You know, in the past it would have just been text and a rumor or a doctored image. Now you can generate for cents, you know, these sorts of images
and
for any politician.
And it looks like this could be real.
And it looks like it could be real. And this technology is only getting better, so it's only going to get more convincing.
Another form of disinformation Bridgman has on his radar this campaign, a potential bot attack.
This was a great example where
he points to one last summer that served as a wake-up call.
in Kirkland Lake, this is a small Ontario town, Pierre Poilievre held a rally, and a few days later, there was thousands of messages on X talking about how that rally was great.
Like this Barry, for example, is saying, as a Northern girl, it's refreshing to see a leader who actually listens. And, you know, this person's saying that, you know, the rural issues won me over. But essentially, they're all positive towards this very rally.
Exactly. So they're all positive, slight variations of text. 3 days after, it's not credible. It likely was a single actor testing out a pipeline.
The Conservative Party of Canada has denied any involvement in the bot campaign. Bridgman says in the 8 months since, AI models have gotten even more sophisticated.
If I'm a would-be manipulator, I now have access to cheap bots at scale that I can deploy on a social media platform and get them to sound human and interact as if they were human. And I can do that in a very innocent way for a long period of time until, hey, there's this message, there's this idea I want to push out, and then I can use them to do that. And that's unique to this election. We've not ever seen that capability before.
Bridgman's group and its partners have mounted a counteroffensive, a dedicated election website, a tip line for suspicious content, and a weekly newsletter detailing the latest incidents. In this battlefield, where truth itself is contested territory, transparency may be the ultimate weapon.
And this manipulation isn't targeted to older Canadians or people who are less tech savvy. Actually, one thing I kept hearing from experts covering this story is if you're not fooled today, you will be tomorrow because the technology is changing so quickly.
So Farah, who's holding these social media companies accountable?
No one. That's the issue. Elections Canada has reached out to social media platforms, including X and TikTok, to say help keep our elections secure. Yeah. But the problem is these companies are right now self-regulating.
Appreciate this. Thank you.
Thanks.
Coming up, Mother Nature puts on a very Canadian show.
That thing was absolute cinema. Like, it had everything. Like Papa Goose, like, you go.
A Canadian goose stands its ground against a cunning fox. Next in our moment. Okay, we had a goose on the moment last night, but you know, it's goose season, so let's keep the goose train rolling with this face-off. Red Fox versus Canada Goose. The showdown recently played out on the streets of Toronto, and much like Canadians right now, the iconic bird stood its ground. So tonight, this guardian goose makes our moment.
That thing was absolute cinema. It was just like the most perfect moment in the history of goose versus fox fight. It had everything, emotion. It had the willpower of the goose and how it defended itself and its family. I just got in my car and I looked to my left, I see the fox sneaking up. I was simply amazed to how the goose was fighting back, scaring off the fox, and it didn't give up. It actually tried going back. I never seen a goose reacting that fast. I know they're angry, they hiss back at you. No wonder they're called the Cobra chickens. But this one takes the cake. Like Papa Goose, like you go. The fox kind of walked away, kind of like Fox's own walk of shame. The most Canadian things I have seen. The goose just showed all the Canadians like how to stand up for yourself. Basically elbows up, you know?
Yeah, I know. And, you know, I think it's fair to say elbows up here in Canada applies to humans and animals. The battle also took place right outside a root store. So that adds to the Canadiana. Wafi Ishmam closed out the interview by saying, whatever life throws at you, be like the goose, fight for what you believe in. I think that's going to become an internet meme or maybe on a t-shirt somewhere. A reminder, we're teaming up with our colleagues at The Current to travel the country and hear from as many voters as possible. Tomorrow morning, Matt Galloway will be in the vote-rich suburban belt around Toronto, the 905. And then on The National, it's a special edition of At Issue from Halifax in front of a live audience. Until then, thanks for watching. I'm Asha Tomlinson. Take care.